Hello, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Arna Sahu, host of Arna's News, where on this podcast channel, I aim to eliminate the gender gap in the STEM fields by featuring inspiring female professionals and highlighting their stories and accomplishments to further encourage girls. Today on episode 38.
And it's not always easy when you're younger. You don't have the confidence to trust yourself, to be yourself, to kind of pursue what you want. And I would say keep working on that. Do small things that build your confidence. And through small achievements and small steps, you start kind of building that muscle of confidence. And that will serve you well because it's important to have belief in what you're doing and not always look for external validation or have a critical voice in your mind.
Today on episode 38, I'm pleased to announce our guest, Nithya Ruff. As the head of Open Source Program Office across AWS and Amazon, and also the chair for the Linux Foundation Board of Directors, she uses her 20 plus years of experience in the technology field to scale growth in startups to Fortune 500 companies like Comcast and Intel. Previously at Comcast, she helped advise and support thousands of developers as a mentor across 200 projects and also drove a culture of innovation to maintain Comcast as an open source company. And to top it all off, she oversaw over $200 million at Avia Inc. and also led a senior team of professional service consultants impacting in over $500 million in revenue. So thank you so much, Nithya, for being here today. Before we dive into the questions, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you so much, Arna, and it's wonderful to be here with you. You did a wonderful job introducing what I do and who I am. The other elements of my life that I'm proud of is that I'm a proud mom of two wonderful daughters, and parenting has been one of the other big achievements in my life.
That's so exciting. Yeah, so my first question for you is tell us a bit about your career path.
My career path, like many people's career path, was not a straight line. I grew up in India, studied business in my undergrad, but decided to pursue computer science for my graduate degree. So you can move from one, discipline to another. And then I went back again and got my MBA because I really liked the juxtaposition, the combination of business and computer science together. I also pursued a very broad set of experiences when I was working in companies. While I started as a coder programmer, I then moved to product management, product marketing, and then also did strategy, worked for the CTO office, the Chief Technology Officer office, and I've worked in small and big companies. I think all of that helped me be more flexible, versatile, and really gain great experiences.
Yeah. All right. So my next question for you is what advice would you give someone wanting to pursue a career similar to yours? Do you have any tips to succeed?
I would say for any career, one of the first tips I would say is deeply know who you are, what you like, what you don't like, what kind of company you like working in, what motivates you, what's the best time of the day when you're creative, because then you can be your best self, right? You can be your optimal self. My second tip would be to manage your own career, to be the boss of your career and not to let somebody else, manage it because no one else knows you like you do and what you want to get out of your life. Third is explore different opportunities like I did. I think it made me more well rounded. And especially when you're young, you can take a lot of risks. You can try different things because it's easier to recover. And then two other things I will say, three other things actually. Ask for what you want, because the worst thing is somebody will say no. And then you say, what do I need to do to get a yes? If you don't ask, you often don't get, because people think that you don't want it. Look for mentors. Mentors are important in your career. And last but not the least, have a support system. You know, your family, your friends, people you trust and can talk to, who can give you good advice, who you can, let your hair down with and say, I'm concerned or I'm not feeling good about this. What should I do? So I would say those are some of the tips I would give to someone to succeed.
I think it's really important to know that it's okay to take risks because, as you said, from going to business to computer science in your graduate school, that's a pretty big risk, but you did it because you wanted to understand what computer science was. And I think that's really important to know in all aspects of life.
Yes, absolutely.
And my next question for you is, what is common myth about your profession that you want to debunk?
When you say you've studied computer science and you are a tech person, people immediately assume that you do coding all day and right, and that
Yeah.
it's boring and that you sit in a corner and you just do nothing but coding. That's just the opposite of what true work is. Even in the beginning of your coding career as a junior coder, you still need to communicate to people. You still need to know how to gather requirements for your project, and you need to be able to work with others, collaborate, share, communicate. So people skills are such a huge part of coding. You cannot just be locked up in a room, doing your own coding. We're not islands. We work with other people. So I would say people skills are underrated in the tech field, and you really need to work on developing those skills.
Yeah, I think that just coding away and, in the typical stereotype, you just code away, you're an introvert. That's like the biggest stereotype that a lot of people have, like especially onlookers of the STEM industry. But there's so much more to that. Like you have to talk about your code, you have to talk to other people, so many other things, not just coding related.
Exactly. If I may say one more thing, and especially young women are turned off from coding because they think it's not social, it's not, interesting, right? It can be so interesting, and it can also intersect two domains. So if you love fashion and coding, it can be an intersection work. You can design, um, I guess, clothes online. You can set up a fashion, shop online, and so on and so forth. So you really need to know that it's just a tool to get to achieving something you want, a product or serving people.
Yeah, I was just going to say coding is a tool and you can use it as leverage for anything else you have passions for.
Exactly.
And my next question for you is, if you could step into my shoes or your younger self, what would you have asked yourself that I didn't?
One of the things that's the most important in careers is to be confident. And it's not always easy when you're younger. You don't have the confidence to trust yourself, to be yourself, to kind of pursue what you want. And I would say keep working on that. Do small things that build your confidence. And through small achievements and small steps, you start kind of building that muscle of confidence. And that will serve you well because um, it's important to have belief in what you're doing and not always look for external validation or have a critical voice in your mind.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Self-confidence is a really big, helpful thing that a lot of people have, but as a student, it's really hard because, you have all this external factors just presenting themselves to you, and you don't know if you can like make it, and you're really young when you're starting out, so it's much harder, but just knowing that you can do it. And I mean, there's always a quote, fake it till you make it, so I guess there's that too. Self-confidence can really help you professionally and personally.
A small hack is to remind yourself of successes you had before. When you are faced with a failure and you feel like beating yourself up and saying, damn it, sorry, I kind of didn't do well there. I would say, but you know what? I succeeded here, I succeeded there, and I did well there. So I am capable of succeeding. And this is just a small setback. I can come back again. I did come back before from other setbacks. So keep reminding yourself and being happy about the successes you've had, because that then feeds that confidence muscle.
Yeah, it's that mindset that really helps.
Yes.
Yeah, and my next question for you is what are the best resources slash books that have helped you find your career path?
I think mentors are very important, and having mentors and sponsors. Mentors to me are people who advise you, who can teach you something, who you trust, and you can go talk to them about a question you have. Sponsors, on the other hand, are people who will go to bat for you, and they will go open doors for you, and they will recommend you. And so you need both. So I would say that's important. Two books that I have loved is The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. I think it just really taught me how to think differently and feel more positive. I constantly work on myself. I constantly try to be a better human being, and reading helps. Growth Mindset, a book on growth mindset called Mindset, is a fantastic book as well, because it tells you you're not, locked into who you are today, that you can grow, you can learn, and you can transform and be different things. Practically everything in life is learnable, and that you don't need to say, hey, I'm not good at math, so I'm not going to even attempt it. Math comes with practice by doing small things every single day. There's another book called Atomic Habits, which says, making small changes every single day over the course of a year accounts to about 30.65% improvement, right? So it's that 1% improvement that you make every single day. So I would say those are two good books that I've read.
Yeah, I think a mentor is really important because you can have the experience from someone else who's done it and they can help you lead your life, which is really, really cool to have. And also, the seven habits of highly effective people. There's actually a book for teens, and that's really cool. And also for the second one, the mindset book, is it just called Mindset?
Exactly, and I'll show you the book itself. It's called Mindset: The New Psychology of Success by Carol Dweck, and it says how we can learn to fulfill our potential. Right? It's they talk about people who have a limiting mindset. Who say, "This is my karma. This is who I am. This is how I'm born. I can't change. I can't do this. I can't do that." Or there is the mindset of, I can learn that, I can grow, and I will keep growing and I'll keep learning, and I can do anything I want. I just need to learn it. And that is the mindset that I subscribe to, which is I can evolve. I'm not doomed to be who I am today.
Yeah, I've actually seen that book before, and though I started reading it, I will definitely pick it back up. And also Atomic Habits, that's a really, really amazing book too. It's like the bestseller for like everything every single week. So everybody, you should definitely go check out those three books.
I agree.
And my next question for you is, what do you think is a vital factor that shaped your career? What was your life before learning it, and what was your life after learning it?
I would say, we talked about confidence. I would say when I stopped listening to the critic in my mind, and that voice in my mind became a friend and talked to me in a guiding and supporting way, and I stopped trying to please everybody, and I believed in who I was and to be myself and to be confident. I think that's what the things started changing. Till then, I was always anxious and tentative and, worried about what others would think, not confident in myself. But once you start believing in yourself, then the sky's the limit. And it is so doable and it's important. As you also mentioned, that is so important to anything you do in your life, and to really be happy with yourself. If you are not happy with yourself and if you're not your best friend, then how can others be your best friend? And we live with ourselves the most. We live with ourselves 24/7. So we need us to be our best friends. And that's what I'll say.
Yeah, I have that inner critic too, so I can definitely get what it means. Because I'm a big overthinker, so I always think pessimistically, and that inner critic just often just gets in my head. But just knowing that it's yourself that's limiting you and not anything else, that can really just help you succeed, both professionally and personally.
Very well said, Ara.
Thank you. And since we have some additional time, my next question for you is, what's one thing you wish you had known when you began your career path?
I think the confidence piece is the big one. I will say I wish I knew the importance of confidence and to believe in myself, and that it was okay to be myself, and to be comfortable with myself. So because there's so many days of anxiousness, in the beginning of my career that I could have avoided if I felt comfortable. But I suppose it takes time to build, that maturity and that satisfaction with who you are. And so I will say I'm okay with what happened, and the journey that I took.
Yeah, there's this one saying that when bad things happen, you have a good face, which basically means that whenever bad things come your way, you're gonna be okay with it. You're gonna succeed. Although it's hard to think that way, it comes back to the fake it till you make it type of thing. But
Yes.
yeah,
I will also say there's success and there is failure. There is no such thing as failure, they say. It's learnings. Because from every failure you need to learn. So it's success and learnings, not success and failures, is what I was trying to say.
yeah. And my next question for you is, how do you continue to learn in order to stay on top of things within your role?
And that's an excellent point. I have been, in the tech industry for more than 30 years, and every single day I study, I read things because the world is changing constantly and knowledge is evolving constantly, and you need to stay relevant, you need to stay up to date on what's happening. So I read a lot, I take on new challenges which help me grow. And at Amazon, we write documents. So I will take on the writing of a document on some topic which I don't know much about, and that forces me to study it, learn it, and then communicate it in the doc. I'll take on new talks and presentations that I will do. I'll submit an abstract for a conference, and I may know just a little bit about it, but then when I get accepted, I really work hard to become an expert at that and then do it, because it's a forcing function for me to kind of, become an expert at something. What else? I had written, mentors, of course, are also, very important to growing and learning. Surround yourself not just with one mentor, not to have a board of directors, people who are skilled and wonderful in lots of different ways, so you can learn from all of them.
I really like how you continually push yourself to wanting to learn. Like you step out of your comfort zone and push yourself to really just wanting to do it, even though you probably know nothing about it. I really admire that.
Thank you.
And also about the mentors, I think it's really important to have a group of people who can help guide you, because you're basically like a fish in a pond. So as long as you have people that you know who've done it with you, they can help you, they can guide you, they can be your support system. So many other helpful things as well.
Totally. And I think mentors also learn from you. So remember that it's a two-way value system. Um, a lot of older mentors may look to younger people to learn about how is Gen Z thinking and what worries you and how do you do this, or especially maybe some of the newer gadgets and things like that. So I think it can be a two-way street. It's called reverse mentoring, where the mentee teaches the mentor a lot of things.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. I will definitely look into the reverse mentoring. And my last question for you is, do you have any quotes or mottos that you love to follow and would like to share?
I think I have two quotes. One is by Maya Angelou, and she says, "Ask for what you want and be prepared to get it." So one of the things that happens sometimes is you'll say, I wish I had this," and then when you get it, you just don't know how to deal with it. And so be prepared for success, or be prepared for whatever you're asking for as well. And the second is by Oscar Wilde, and he says, "Be yourself because everyone else is already taken." And I think that that really speaks to being authentic, because it's very tiresome trying to pretend to be somebody else. And being yourself is valued by others, and it's easiest to be.
Yeah, I think that the first quote really embodies what you do because although you push yourself to wanting to, do presentations, write stuff, when that happens and you're in that position to actually do it, you actually want to continue. Like your mind is wired to wanting to learn, and I think that's really, really admirable.
Yes, and people often ask, how can I be a better presenter? It's practice. It's hard work, practice, and doing your homework for everything practically. I think there are very few people who are born who can just show up and be great. Even the big performers will tell you that they practice. Taylor Swift or Rihanna, whoever, they say they practice constantly till it becomes a memory, muscle memory, and it becomes easier then just to act on what you have become skilled at.
Yeah, I think that's really important to know because a lot of role models, you might think that, oh, it's so hard, but when you actually see what they've done, you actually understand like how they're able to be where they are today.
Exactly, exactly.
And well, that basically sums up the interview. Thank you so much for being here. Before we end off, would you like to say a few last words to the audience?
Anna, I love what you're doing. I think it's so important to break the barriers for people to enter into STEM. STEM is such an important element of lots of different careers, whether you're in journalism or in medicine or fashion. Knowing how to use the digital tools that we have and to be skilled at, creating this digital world is important. To be a creator, not just a user of it.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Thank you for tuning in to Arnis News, where we aim to inspire and empower women in STEM by featuring the stories of successful female professionals in the industry. Today, we have the pleasure of hearing from Nithya Ruff, the head of open source program office across AWS and Amazon, and also the chair for the Linux Foundation Board of Directors, who shared 3 valuable pieces of advice. 1, it's important to deeply know yourself, manage your own career, and take risks to explore different opportunities. And 2, people skills are crucial in the tech field, and young women shouldn't be turned off by coding. And 3, believing in oneself and being confident is vital for success in one's career. Thus, that concludes episode 38. If you want to know more about how I relate to these amazing topics, then stay tuned for upcoming episodes. A free way to support this show is by leaving it a 5-star rating and a review on the player you are listening to. Let me know what you enjoy about this podcast, as it's a chance to tell me what you love about the show and helps others discover it too. Also, check out our YouTube channel. That is www.youtube.com/@arnisnews. No spaces attached. Once again, thank you for finding me, and I hope we stay in touch with each other. Dito, you were listening to Arna Sahu, the host of Arna's News. Toodles!